Hundreds of little nomads in America, sleeping in the backs of cars, on floors in welfare offices, or in shelters, 5 to a room. What would it mean to spend your childhood drifting from one strange bed to another, waking in the morning to try and figure out where you'd landed today without those things that confer security and happiness, a picture on the wall, a certain slant of light through a curtained window? "Give me your tired, your poor," it says on the base of the Statue of Liberty to welcome foreigners. Oh, but they are already here, the small refugees from the ruin of the American dream, even if you cannot see them. Scattered like seeds strewn across the land, millions of Americans, hidden in crevices of small towns, rural communities, and megacities, adrift and destitute.
Is for
alligator.
Okay, put that down right there. See. Now, what comes next?
Schools have identified 1 million students without homes, and that number could easily double if those not identified or hiding their homelessness were counted. That number doesn't even factor in younger siblings, those under the age of 6. Hundreds of thousands of babies, toddlers, preschoolers in the most critical developmental stage of their lives, lacking a place to call home. For these littlest nomads, and for all of us, homelessness in America is an early childhood crisis.
All right.
and D is for
Devontae and Dante and dog.
Embarrassed and traumatized, parents fear losing custody of their children if their plight is discovered. To avoid being noticed, they bounce from friend to relative to cheap motels, shelters, campgrounds, cars, and streets. Littlest nomads become experts in poverty and homelessness before they even get to their elementary school doors.
G is for
Gorilla.
and what comes after G?
Discarded by society, communities unaware, multitudes of littlest nomads spend their most formative years in appalling surroundings, far from the idyllic environments depicted in baby magazines. Swaddled in squalor, stability shattered, their family unit rocked by endless catastrophes, these toddlers eventually end up sitting in classrooms overwhelmed by fear, uncertainty, and stress, thwarting chances to achieve classroom success and greatly jeopardizing the odds of graduating from high school, let alone college.
Say your
B,
alphabet.
D, D, E, F, G, H, I, K, J. J.
Federal demonstration programs confirm that homeless children have greater developmental delays, health issues, and learning problems than other children living in poverty. Small children need safe, positive, predictable relationships and environments for optimal development. And besides a place to live, their struggling parents need someone to support and believe in them. But their nomadic lives make that almost impossible for many reasons. Most communities lack awareness of homelessness among young children, so these littlest nomads remain invisible to the early childhood services that could help them.
H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P.
So what comes after L? L. M.
M.
Go ahead, Dante.
Find the M.
Look at the one for the M that looks like mommy.
High mobility keeps families from staying long enough to make it to the top of waiting lists for important programs. This mobility also makes it more challenging to locate and consistently serve these families. Inadequate transportation to public early education and preschools, especially in rural areas, keeps homeless families from accessing scarce services. Funding for programs serving this vulnerable and voiceless population is severely limited. But despite these obstacles, gallant efforts nationwide strive to help homeless families overcome their challenges, with schools at the foundation of assistance. Federal law requires every school district to designate a liaison for homeless children and youth. With a concerted effort, families with toddlers and preschool-age kids will be connected with Head Start, which has shown a 44% increase in numbers of homeless children served and other services. Head Start prioritizes these homeless tykes for enrollment and develops plans, including essential transportation for meeting their needs. Homeless service providers and school district liaisons must make sure that homeless children and families can benefit from Head Start's comprehensive services or other vital programs. Some communities provide a specialized daycare environment for babies and toddlers traumatized by homelessness so that parents can look for housing, work, or attend appointments while their children receive quality daycare.
We created a space of belonging where children felt at home, and in the process taught them to love themselves. If a child's crying, we're going to respond to the tears. If a child's mad, we're going to respond to the anger. If a child's feeling happy, we're going to respond to the joy.
Another invaluable and growing effort, ironically, home visiting. It connects disenfranchised families with a professional educator who guides parents on the basics, like how to read and relate to their children, with the goal of improving school readiness. This educator becomes the consistent support for the family, encouraging and assisting parents with educationally related challenges. In programs like the Mobile Outreach Parent-Child Home Program on Long Island, the home visitor goes to the family, eliminating the transportation and high mobility barriers. Families staying in shelters, motels, vehicles, and campgrounds anywhere will see their teacher on a regular basis. Besides the obvious benefit to children, parents gain an invaluable support system that helps them navigate the ordeals of homelessness.
Ultimately, in a weird sense of the way, really eased the situation that we were going through. You know, just knowing that she was coming and just that little conversation here and there and seeing how happy the kids were and learning and it felt like they gave a normalness to our lives.
Home visitors bridge gaps for families isolated by poverty and homelessness, imparting vital guidance and support to beleaguered parents, encouraging them to nurture and teach their little ones.
A balance and a normalness to people whose lives are at that time unbalanced, and everything is chaotic and everything is unknown, and you're here in one place today and here in another place tomorrow, but they're still there. They're following you everywhere you go.
Parents of Littlest Nomads have limited capacity to fight for their children or for the programs that help them. What can be done? Check your community's public schools. Is their homeless liaison aware of what needs to be in place to help homeless babies and toddlers? Is adequate outreach occurring? Find out from the liaison or other community agencies working with homeless families what practical resources are needed. Collect and distribute essential supplies like diapers and formula. Encourage service clubs, professional organizations, parents groups, college and university students to watch Littlest Nomads. Then inventory local efforts to assist families with younger children. Initiate contact with local, state, and federal legislators. Ask them about their awareness of this crisis and the local needs. Encourage them to learn about and protect this vulnerable population. Do our Littlest Nomads count? Do their families deserve the supports that will ensure thriving rather than barely surviving? Can our nation afford the consequences of their neglect? Children who are loved, nurtured, talked with, and read to are prepared to learn when they enter school. They have a much better chance of finishing school ready to contribute to society in a positive way. Lifting Littlest Nomads from their obscurity into the consciousness of America is the first step in restoring their American dream. Instead of prodding besieged parents to grab tattered bootstraps, we must collectively cradle and sustain the most vulnerable among us.